Welcome to the Insight Channel, your user's guide to living life with vision loss. I'm Jazz, I'm a blind occupational therapist, and I'll be your guide. As an OT, I help people to problem solve their everyday tasks. Several times I've been asked, how do you pick up broken glass? So when I accidentally knocked over this vase, I thought, okay, here's my next YouTube video. So the key is to not overreact. You need to think strategically. As soon as it happens, your first instinct is probably going to be to run and get out of the area. But actually, the safest thing to do is to freeze and assess the situation. Ask yourself 3 questions. First, what movement caused the object to fall? In my case, it was a vase that was on this countertop, and I was reaching over and caused the vase to go off the edge of the counter. Now, knowing this information is going to help you to know the trajectory of the object and what direction the shards are going to go, so you'll know where to find them. The second question you're going to ask is, what fell? Was it something small, large? This will give you the size and scope of the mess. Now, this was a pretty sizable vase, so I know that there's a pretty decent amount of glass on the ground, and there will probably be shards all the way across the room that I'm going to have to find to pick up. The third question is, what sound did I hear that made me aware that the glass hit the floor? And this one's really important because it's going to give you a lot of good information to help you clean up the mess. In my case, I heard the sound to my right and behind me, and I even recall hearing something hit over at the base of the wall across the room. Now, this is information that you have to capture right when it happens, because if you move out the room and start thinking of other things, your brain's not going to hold on to it. That's why it's important to freeze and really think about what just happened. Get all the clues that you need to figure out where you need to clean. So once you've assessed the situation and you have an idea of the direction where most of the glass should be, you want to get out of the room. But you're going to want to take very slow, deliberate, and careful steps just in case some of the shards came your way. So I'm going to move, but I'm going to use my sense of touch in my feet to feel the area before putting all my weight into my foot. So I'm going to walk very slowly and carefully, feeling as I go. What a mess. I'm not going to lie. If you have someone home who's sighted and capable of helping to pick up glass, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. Sometimes we all need a little bit of help, especially when it comes to being safe. But having a vision impairment, it can be an occupational hazard to knock things over and have accidents. So it's still good to have a plan, because sometimes you might not have somebody available to help. So now I've got my shoes on. I always like to keep a handy pair of Crocs for just such occasions. And I've got all the tools I'm going to need to clean up the glass. I have a paper bag to put the shards in. I have my broom and dustpan. And I've got a Swiffer that you can put a dry pad or a wet pad on. And of course some paper towel. And I'm wearing a glove on my dominant hand because that's the hand that's going to be used to pick up the shards of glass. So if you have a latex glove or regular old rubber kitchen gloves, that's fine, but wear something that's going to protect your hands. So now we're ready to clean up the mess. If you have low vision, you want to brighten the area as much as possible, so hopefully you can see the glimmer of the shards on the floor. Whether you have low vision or no vision, the key here is to pick a target, and when you're sweeping, you're always moving the debris towards that target. So if you have vision, you can choose a spot visually and move towards it. If you have no vision, orient yourself to the space, find a spot that you want to move towards, and go for it. Now be sure you're using pattern movements. You want to start as far across the room as possible. In this case, I'm lucky, this is the kitchen, so the wall is an easy place to start. Whoops. And I can always tell from sound that I hit a pretty sizable piece of glass. So I'm going to go ahead and put that here in the bag and keep moving. So, pattern movements, you start across the room. If you have a really big room, you might want to pick a couple of targets and separate what you're doing. Kind of split it up so you're not going too far across the room. But you always want to make sure that you start in one spot, sweep forward, come back to that spot, move your broom up a little bit, again, sweep forward. Oop, there's another big piece. Go back to your starting spot, move up, sweep forward to make sure you're not missing any spots. So as I've gotten closer to where the glass hit the ground, and I can tell because there are more pieces and bigger pieces, I've switched to a perpendicular angle just to make sure that I'm gathering all these big pieces together. And what I'm going to do is take my bag and gently try to find the big shards and put them in the bag. Now be sure that you're coming down very softly. Use a very light hand just to make sure that you're not going to puncture your glove. And if you use very slow, gentle, methodical movements, you should be okay. So now it feels like so again, I'm going to use a pattern movement with my hand. I start in one point, move across, come back to that starting point, move up and across, come back, move up and across, just to make sure that I've covered this one little area. And now I'm going to get the broom and the dustpan to get the smaller pieces up. So I removed the big pieces, then I swept everything into the dustpan the best I could. Then I took the broom and swept again everything into the baseboard at the bottom of this cabinet. But now, I am a stickler for details. So my method for making sure that I've got all the little tiny shards is to take a wet paper towel and run it along all of the baseboards to make sure that I'm picking up the glass dust and little tiny shards. Sometimes having something wet is what you need to get it to stick. Oops, and it feels like, yep, and I missed a piece of glass. There it is. Got it with a paper towel. Okay, when you can't see glass, the best thing you can do is repetition, repetition, repetition. So, I like to take the original Swiffer with the dry Swiffer pads and go over the floor, even though we just swept it, just to be sure that we're picking up any dust or little tiny pieces that might have gotten away from us. So you want to go along all the floorboards, and again, use a pattern movement. Now I'm doing a different pattern movement. I'm doing it in a perpendicular pattern, which is good because I'm going to catch little pieces of dirt or dust or shards from a different angle. Just be sure that you're going along all the baseboards afterwards to get all those little tiny pieces. So now we swept up the mess, we used the dry Swiffer, and I like to take a third step just to be uber confident that I've gotten everything, and that's to take the Swiffer Wet Jet and go over it one more time. And then always, always end by taking another wet paper towel and going along the baseboards one last time, because when you're Swiffering, you're pushing the dirt towards the baseboards and along the edge of the wall. And that just ensures that you've got everything. So now you have insight into how this works. Just be sure to have someone with vision double check your work when they come over. Nothing wrong with asking for a little help, just to make sure that you've gotten all the little pieces up for safety's sake. But now you know that someone with vision loss can safely pick up glass independently. All it takes is strategy, patience, repetition, and some common cleaning tools. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to click the thumbs up on your screen. Subscribe so you can be notified for my new videos each week. And please be sure to send me a comment, question, or even an idea for a future video. My job is to give you the tips, tools, and techniques for how to be a success with vision loss. So no worries, you got this. See you next time.